Hiya, Charis here. Did you ever want to make a comic but didn't know where to start? I sure did. But don't worry, you came to the right video. I'm going to show you guys how to make a comic in just 5 simple steps. First things first. Why is Gamora? I'm kidding though. First things first, what's your story? Pick out what genre you'd like. There's thriller, comedy, adventure, action, romance, slice of life, and oh so much more. Literally anything you might find that fits with what you want. I'm doing slice of life and fantasy. Next, find out your story setting and the main idea of your story. Do you want a classic dragon kidnaps a princess and a prince saves the damsel in distress? Or maybe a twist to that? What about a thriller mystery or school romance? Will your time period be in the future or the past? Is it a modern day era with magic involved? Or is it going to be based off a pre-existing story, like a novel turned into a comic, or a story based off of your own life? Once you figure that out, you'll need to make a character. What is their purpose on doing something? What are their flaws? What's their backstory? What do they look like? Designing is a whole other ballpark, so we won't get into it too much. But, as an example, my setting is taking place in a medieval era where currency was gold and magic exists. My genre being slice of life, I don't have a huge elaborate plot idea. I just know there will be 2 dragons going on misadventures as they try to hoard as much gold as possible. I have an idea on how they met, and I have an idea on their backstories too. Who are these dragons, you might ask? I'd like to introduce to you Decibels and Allure. Decibels is the big dragon who kinda follows Allure around. Despite his scary features and abilities, he is very docile by nature. And then Allure, she's very... Oh ho ho ho! Look at all the jewels! They're as shiny as my scales! Wouldn't you like to be as pretty as me? Anyway, after you know what your characters will look like, make sure to have a reference of them so it's easy to look back on. It'll be helpful to use character reference sheets when you have a lot of characters in your story. Now that we know who your character or characters are, your genre, and the main bit of your story, we're going to figure out the plot. It's going to add the main idea to your story before adding the flavoring details. The simplest structure is Freytag's pyramid, which are exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and denouement, or resolution. Let's start with exposition. Exposition is the start of your story where the storyteller sets the scene and establishes characters. Rising action is the story's build-up, and it gets more complex as it nears its climax. Climax is the point with the greatest tension between the protagonist and antagonist. Falling action shows what resulted from the climax. Resolution is how the character and the world continue after their story. It's the end of it. Once you figure out the nitty-gritty of your plot, don't forget to title your story. Make it memorable, yet relatable to your story. I'm naming mine Counting Gold. Now that we know what we want from our story and completely plot-proofed it, next is scripting. This is the juicy flavoring that makes details to your story. When scripting for a comic, I like to make documents per page, since each page will have panels, scenes, shot and angles, and character dialogues. Using Word, I start with a new document and title it, so I don't get confused with what comic I'm writing. I would also include the episode, chapter, and page name or number, but for this, it'll just be the name of the episode. As you write, describe the action the characters will be doing per panel, as well as any scenes surrounding the characters, such as the time of day, location, and so on. If you have a solid idea in mind, I recommend adding shot, camera angles, and maybe a specific pose the character is in. Then, after every panel, include the character and dialogue, so you know who's talking. Once you're finished scripting, then you can move on to storyboarding. If you're storyboarding horizontally, a good size per page is this, with approximately 5 to 9 panels per page. Horizontal pages are great for reading by the book. If you're storyboarding vertically, a good size per page is generally this, but it may depend on the site you want to put your comic on. These vertical pages are great for digital comics like webtoons. I'll be using webtoons, so it'll be a vertical format, but I'll need more than 1 page. So for the safe measure, I'm going to make 6 pages, making the new canvas size from this to this. With this new size, you just start roughly sketching the scenes you've scripted, and maybe the dialogue placement too. Feel free to adjust the canvas size when needed by 1280 pixels. I eventually increased my canvas length by 24 pages, making it this size. Once you're done storyboarding, All there's left to do is drawing it. There are 3 main styles you could achieve: a simple, detailed, and complex style. A simple style is a straightforward way of drawing, both great for animations and tight deadlines. Some examples include Calvin and Hobbes, Garfield, Spaceboy, Blue Chair, and Hooky. A detailed style is often seen in manhwa, where it's not too simple, but not too complex either, making it easy to produce but also easy to transition into illustration scenes. Some examples include Omniscient Reader, Unordinary, Unholy Blood, and Smithian Majesty. A complex style is borderline illustrative, or pretty much completely is. They're great if you have a looser deadline. Some examples include The Lone Necromancer, Jungle Juice, Ava's Demon, and almost any Marvel or DC comic. Pick a style, any style. Pick a style you feel most comfortable with, or you think would suit your comic style. But what program do you use to draw? Well, some programs you can use are Clip Studio Paint, Procreate, Photoshop, and pretty much any drawing platform will do. I'm going to go for a detailed style using Photoshop. As you can see, I'm pretty much just lining and coloring the storyboards. Minor changes here and there are fine too. I used the character reference sheet I made to make it easier to color the characters and keep their designs consistent. Once I'm done coloring, I add the dialogue. Some programs have a dialogue box ready, but I'm a little lazy, so I'm just going to draw the bubble instead and type in the text. The final step is just exporting it. With horizontal pages, each page is already ready for exporting and printing. With vertical pages, you want to crop them so that each page is only 800 pixels by 1280 pixels, or whichever size the site you're posting it requires. With Photoshop, I have a way to easily crop the images and save them individually. With other programs, each program has a different way of cropping the images, and each person has a different method of separating the pages too. Once you finish cropping, then you can export it. And that's all there is to it. I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you thought this was helpful in any way, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye bye!